Can you calm down? Thank you. Today, just too high. Today, I want to talk to you about something that I found terrible. Yes, we're talking about Jehovah's Witnesses again today. I hate to say it, but it's the only thing that gets views on my channel. So we're gonna keep going with that. Jehovah's Witnesses do these things called movies, or at least their attempt at movies. I should clarify, the society, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, makes these videos. I'm gonna lower this a little bit. So, Watchtower has been doing like film media for a long time now, since Charles Taze Russell. They've been doing this stuff with the, what was it? The Joy of Creation? No, that's Five Nights at Freddy's. What was it? I forget. I'll put it up here. Right here. So yeah, they make movies just like any other Christian, I don't know, mega corporation likes to. They all like making these movies and stuff, which I have to say, having movies and films and TV shows and stuff about your religion is a lot more interesting than books. You're supposed to fetch it. That's when I throw something, you go get it. The cat is getting it. Go. You want to be shown up by a feline? Anyhow, getting to the point. There's two kinds of movies that Watchtower makes. They do the modern day dramas, and they do the Bible day dramas. So the Bible day dramas are exactly what they sound like. They take a story from the Bible or like a time period or whatever, and they visualize it as a movie. The modern day dramas also take like a biblical story, such as The Prodigal Returns, Remember the Wife of Lot, which is like financial security and why that's a bad thing. The What is True Love one, which is the next one that I want to do a review on, is not, to my knowledge, based off of a biblical thing. It's just like, oh, you should date somebody who is a photographer and also a Jehovah's Witness and a ministerial servant and is baptized and whatever. But most of them are based off of like Bible stuff. So the one we're talking about today, it's a young people ask drama. There's two of these called How Can I Make Real Friends? And me and my husband, I forget which name he's going by this week. He changes it a lot. We actually did a watch with me where we watched the... You're scaring the crap out of me. Stop. We watched it in full and we gave like our commentary. So I'm going to be using clips from that. And if I feel it necessary, I'll add clips without us talking over it, because I just recently watched the recording and I realized you can't hear the movie at all. So this one, How Can I Make Real Friends, is telling the story of Dinah. Now, in the beginning of this movie...
This is definitely old.
Yes, it is. It is old.
Definitely has that, like, 90s...
Which I think it's from the 90s. It's got major 90s aesthetic, and I hate to say it, I love it. It's so cheesy. I absolutely love it. I wish that they had made more of these, because they only made, I think, like 2. This was before they had more resources to do film stuff, so they were very limited in the stuff that they did, and it was more of a rarity, and now it's the complete norm. I wouldn't be surprised if they completely drop books altogether and just become a media company. In fact, I think that's what they're trying to do right now. So we'll see where that goes. That seems interesting. So yeah, we start with the beginning. We tell the story, or they tell the story of Dinah. Dinah, in case you don't know, she was the who the heck was she? I'm sorry.
So
do you
who
want?
is Dinah? I don't know anything about Dinah.
They're explaining it now.
I have Shem. Oh, so Dinah was the daughter of Jacob. She moved along with Jacob's family to America.
So Dinah was the daughter of Jacob in the Bible. Dinah basically got involved with some bad association, and she was assaulted in an inappropriate manner by a man. And so yeah, they did. The JWs made a modern day drama about that story as a way of discouraging young JWs. This is a PSA to JW kids. Do not hang out with people who are not 30-year-old Jehovah's Witness women, as you will soon come to find. As if JWs, like, as individuals, as if all of them are just automatically good association. Because, to be honest with you, the wildest party I ever went to was hosted by a Jehovah's Witness. And then I went to, like, a worldly party after. I was like, this is really tame. This is, like, really, really freaking tame. So I don't know. I don't know. They don't want you to think about that part. Because, again, the people I attack are the people up on top. Not God. Not God. I'm talking about New York. I'm talking about the, what is it, 9 men now in New York. Those are the people I'm making fun of. It's them and their stupid ideas on how people in the real world behave. It's not the individuals I'm attacking. I hope that you can comprehend that. So yeah, we start off in the movie with a description of Dinah, who she was, what she got into, and immediately with the victim blaming, everybody here is just like, well, what happened to Dinah could have happened to anybody because she did not trust the right people. So this is a warning to all of you. I was terrified, by the way, that they would go all in with the Dinah part of the story and have the main character, Tara, like, actually be assaulted. And I was like, if they did that, that would be in such poor freaking taste. But you will see. I will not spoil things for you. So we start off with our main character, Tara. She's a young girl. She's in high school. And she's just moved to a new city with her family.
I like turtles. All right.
So Tara is not getting along with anybody at her new hall. This woman who is at least in her 30s keeps trying to be her friend, and she's like, no, I don't want to be friends with you. You're not my old friends at my old hall. I miss my old hall and my old friends and my old life. And everything here sucks. So Tara goes to school, and she's a bit of a poet.
I remember the day I caught loneliness. It was the day we moved away. It lay like a stone in my lap, and no matter how I tried, prying, tearing, it simply would not go away.
Wait, what does his shirt say? Stop skateboard harassment?
Shamlock Gilligan Jones.
And it kind of just blows her fellow classmates away. Her classmates who could not give a crap about whether she was alive or dead, as most high schoolers tend to be. They're very... Oh, Shem, please. That's not stable. That's not stable! Okay. So, Tara becomes friends with this girl who is not a mean girl. She's like, I guess, an it girl. Like, she's the popular girl is what I'm trying to say. So they become friends. They start hanging out together. They start working on this dramatic acting project together. So yeah, the girls are the girls are over at, I don't remember her name, the popular girl's house. Tara's hanging out and they are watching hip hop. And the first time watching this, I was like, are they playing Gangster's Paradise? Are they really playing Gangster's Paradise just completely unedited? Oh no, she's watching rap. Wait a second, that's fucking Gangster's Paradise! In the background of this movie. And I listened to it again, and then I listened to it a third time, and it's not Gangster's Paradise, but it is, like, definitely sounds just like it. Like, listen to it. I'm gonna play it for you.
As I got to know Lori, my opinion of her began to change. I never would have guessed that we had so much in common.
And then played Gangster's Paradise.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left.
Like, that sounds identical to Gangster's Paradise. I think it's just different enough to get by any lawsuits that might have come their way. So even after their little dramatic acting project, the girls are still hanging out, and now Tara is hanging out with... she's hanging out with popular girls' friends now, and they're going to the mall together, and they're hanging out, and they're talking about boys, and Tara's like, oh, I don't date anybody. And of course, popular girl is like, well, I'll hook you up with this hot guy. His name is, what was his name?
Mark, you are so funny. Hi.
Mark. So Lori introduces Tara to Mark, and he's the hot guy in school. He's like, ooh, he's sexy. So yeah, he has this friend who likes to drum with forks. I'm gonna call this guy Chris Raygun because when he puts on glasses, he looks like Chris Raygun to me. But Mark is a bad boy, and you can tell he's a bad boy because he's a boy who wears earrings. For some reason, that's like a consistent theme with JW Media, is portraying the bad boy or like the guy who's gone off on the wrong path as wearing earrings. Like we saw it with the last Jehovah's Witness anime. Yes, there was a Jehovah's Witness anime. There's been multiple Jehovah's Witness animes. They're not full animes, they're music videos, but I gotta say, I gotta hand it to the art department. They're beautiful. They are pretty much indistinguishable from something you would see on any other anime streaming service. I actually really like them. I think they're very nice. Don't like the message, but damn, the art department. Hats off to you. Your talents are being wasted. I'm so sorry that you were stuck in a cult and you have to do these beautiful things for a horrible corporation. I hope that you get out, and I hope that you can make what you want to make instead of what you were forced to make, because you are very talented, all of you. So, Tara has been getting stalked. Not stalked. There's this woman, I don't remember her name either. I think her name is Nancy. I want to call her Nancy, so I'm just going to call her Nancy. She is extremely intrusive, and she's been like following Tara around. Not following her, but she comes up to her at the Kingdom Hall, and she keeps trying to like strike up a conversation and be friends with her. She invites her in service and stuff, and they're at lunch one day, and Tara is eating these really gross looking fries. Honestly, I think they might be delicious, though they're all smeared in oil. So she, Nancy, again, I'm pretty sure her name is not actually Nancy, but Nancy is like, oh yeah, so you know, what's going on with you in your life? And Tara's like, oh well, you know, I'm hanging out later with some of my friends. And Nancy's like, oh, what hall do they go to? Did he go to our hall? Did they go to a different hall? And she's like, oh, they're actually friends from my school. They're not witnesses. And Nancy's like, and I've gotten that look so many times from JWs when I mention that I have a friend or an acquaintance, or I happen to be talking to somebody who's not a JW, or even if it's like a family member who is not a JW and I happen to mention that I'm either going to be hanging out with them or whatever, I would always get this look like, you know, you're not supposed to be hanging out with non-witnesses. Oh no, here comes the judgment. I had this conversation so many fucking times. Anytime that I was like, oh yeah, my cousin or something, like it would be a family member that I was hanging out with or gonna be hanging out with, and I happened to mention it to a fellow witness, and they'd be like, but do they love Jehovah?
It's not just God. They have to worship the right God.
I told it was a friend of mine. I told her that I was gonna be visiting my dad, and she blew the fuck up on me. Like, she was screaming at me. She was like, because she had some emotional issues, but she was like being really, really intent that I should not be hanging out with my dad because I was an adult now. I was 16 at the time.
An adult.
Yeah, and she was like, you cannot be hanging out with your dad. This is wrong.
You can't see your own family.
Yeah, your dad is an apostate. If you think that... And then I made, like, the excuse, like, well, you know, maybe I could study the Bible with him. Maybe I could bring him back to Jehovah. And she said, if Jehovah wants him, Jehovah will get him. You don't need to put yourself in that situation. And I was just like, it's my fucking dad. I don't know. Even as a JW, I didn't want to judge people because I saw plenty of people who had non-JW friends or family who they hung out with on occasion. And as long as they weren't disfellowshipped, like, it wasn't too big of a deal. But there was always people who, the minute you mention somebody who's not a JW, they're like judging you, like with their eyes, just judging you, and you know what they're about to say. So Tara goes to hang out with her new friends in the city, and they go traveling around, and they're doing all this sightseeing, and the Not Gangster's Paradise is playing in the background.
Not anymore.
Are they playing Gangster's Paradise again?
No, they are. I guess the person who made that really liked Gangster's Paradise.
Oh no, she's having fun.
They are playing Gangster's Paradise.
They are. To let you know, like, oh, this is bad association. So yeah, they're hanging out, they're doing whatever. Tara's getting cozy with Mark, and Chris Raygun, he buys weed. He's shown in the background. He's doing this little exchanging the cash for the grass. And at the end of their little get together, it's still daylight, by the way. Tara's like, I gotta get home. It's getting late. I promised my parents I'd be home. And the rest of the group is like, well, we're gonna go party at Lori's house and do some weed and get real wild. And I have to tell you from experience, weed does not make you get real wild. In 99% of cases, it makes you want to sleep. Like, parties I've been to in which weed is involved, you know what people are doing? Let's watch Rick and Morty. That is the extent of the crazy shit weed will make you do. It's just not... It makes you tired. It makes you lazy. It does not make you engage in orgies or anything of the sort. Meanwhile, when I was a JW, we couldn't do weed. So we did alcohol. And alcohol lowers your inhibitions way, way more than weed does. Like, there's no question about it. I have done way crazier things with alcohol than I have with weed. I have done way crazier things with fellow Jehovah's Witnesses with alcohol than I have with non-JWs with weed. So, Tara, of course, does not want to go smoke the devil's lettuce with her new friends. And Mark happens to be virtuous enough to offer to take her home instead. Alone. He's taking her home alone. And on their way home, which it's suddenly night now, we go from bright daylight to pitch black outside. I don't know what time it is. Mark's like, oh, I want to take you somewhere special. So he takes her to, like, a factory. I don't know what this place is, but it doesn't look romantic in the slightest. I don't know. I don't see, like, this is no make-out point. This is just not romantic at all. I don't know what this is. It's scary more than anything. Maybe that's why they did it. Maybe they're like, well, you know, if you hang out with a non-JW guy and you're alone with him, he's gonna take you to this scary building in the middle of the night and try to convince you to do stuff with him. And so of course nothing's shown, but we know the extent of what happened pretty much. They go in for a kissy kiss. First they talk for a good long time. And then they do a kissy kiss. And of course Mark uses his line like, you're not like other girls. You're special. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And they kiss. And apparently they don't go any further than that, because Tara keeps this entire movie, right, by the way, Tara is like writing a letter to, I guess, a friend. I think the friend's name is Kate or Caitlin. I think it's Kate. She's writing a letter to Kate back at home, and she's like, you know, this is what's going on with me and my life now. And she keeps saying, like, thank goodness that I didn't go any further with him.
To breaking Jehovah's laws that night.
Wait, so nothing even happened?
No.
Things went way too far.
Whoa.
And Mark wanted to go much farther. But I couldn't.
That I did not commit a sin with him. That it was merely misconduct. And I don't know. It just doesn't seem that serious at all. Like, he did not coerce her. He did not force her to do anything that she didn't want to already do. He might have pressured her, but ultimately he did not pressure her into going all the way. I don't see the problem. And yet he takes her home after she asks to go home. He takes her home and she tells her parents. I'm guessing she tells them, yeah, I kissed a boy. We made out in a car outside of a, I don't know what this is, outside of Area 51 where they burned the alien bodies. She tells her parents and they freak out.
They were very upset.
Are you sure you told us everything? Nothing else happened?
No, Dad, I told you.
You've been telling us a lot of things. I don't know what to believe anymore.
Honey, what were you thinking? Didn't you get it? Why do you think he took you there?
Don't you know what he wanted?
For kissing a boy. This is like what you would expect from a show like Seventh Heaven or something, when the daughter actually does do something really, really bad, or like she tells her parents, Mom, Dad, I made a mistake, I'm pregnant. That's how they're acting. That's how they're behaving over their daughter telling them that she kissed a boy and he did not pressure her into going any further than that. It's this overreaction that's like, that's why your kids don't want to tell you anything. That's why when you think your kid has never had an issue, your kid has never gone off the rails or done drugs or done anything crazy, this reaction is why you think that. Because they know this is how you react over a little teeny weeny thing like a kiss. They know that you're going to react like that to that. They're not going to tell you anything else. They're going to keep that from you. And they might be going through all sorts of crap you have no clue about because you react like this. And it's ridiculous. It's very dangerous too, because your kid needs to be able to rely on... Excuse the voice cracking. Your kid needs to be able to rely on you. And they can't if you're going to react like this over something so minor. It's really, really sad because I had these experiences too. With other JW family, not my parents, because I wasn't really around my parents for any of the more intense stuff, and my dad wasn't a JW. But if I did, I think I wore a skirt once. It was to where these pants are. It was a little skirt. It was like this. My grandfather flipped out on me because I was going on a date and I was wearing a skirt that short. I was wearing shorts under it, and he flipped out. He was like, "You are not going out in that." I had my aunt do the same thing when I was wearing a jean skirt. Doesn't matter what I was wearing under it. It's inappropriate. Can't wear it. But if I'm wearing just shorts like this, that's fine. I can wear shorts all day. But if it's a skirt with shorts under it, no. So, of course, you know what I did? I would wear leggings underneath the skirt. And then as soon as I was out of eyesight, I took the leggings off. You don't prevent your kid from doing stuff you don't want them to do by freaking out on them. You just make them scared to tell you anything or to share anything with you. But yeah, you don't get your kid to behave by acting like a freak when they tell you the most minor of things, or you find them doing the most minor of things. You just breed fear within them, and you make them feel like they can't trust you. And as a parent, that is the saddest thing, in my opinion. As a kid, that's the saddest thing, when you cannot trust your parent for whatever reason. And as a parent, you should do everything in your power to make sure that your kid can trust you. That's your job as a parent. When you brought life into this world, you dedicated yourself to raising that child. It's no longer about you. It's no longer about your belief system. It's no longer about what you want for them. It is about raising that kid up to be able to distinguish right from wrong, and most importantly, so that they can trust you, so that you can continue to guide them and help them throughout their life. And to break that because you're freaking out over something so minor, it's sad. It's really sad, and it's really common even now. I would say it's becoming more outdated to treat your kid like that, and I feel like we are doing a better job of viewing children as human beings and not as annoying pets or things that need to be pushed to the side or extensions of ourselves. Kids are not pets. Kids are not inanimate beings. Kids have feelings, and kids will make mistakes, and they need to be able to trust you when they make those mistakes. Also, I just want to say, hating kids is ageism. I've met way too many people who think it's okay to be horrible to babies, or to say that they wish all babies were dead, or to be like, oh, I don't want to see your ugly freaking kid. It's disgusting. It's ageism. You're being cruel to a living human being based solely off of their age alone, and that's not right. And I'm just gonna say that, put that out there right now for anybody who may or may not be listening. Stop being ageist. You're gross. You were a child once too. That child will one day grow up to be an adult, and that adult is probably going to have trauma because of the way you treated them. So don't spread the trauma. End the trauma with yourself. If you went through trauma and you were mistreated, think about that when you're mistreating a child. Just whether you're their parent or not. Just gonna put that out there. So back to the movie. Tara goes to, what was her name again? Lori. She goes to Lori and she's like, hey, I can't hang out with you guys anymore. And she explains what happened with Mark. And Lori's like, what, you prude? And I just want to say this. Lori has been so sweet throughout this entire thing. She brought in Tara from, you know, she might have been a bit of a mean girl or an it girl in the beginning, but she wasn't that bad. Her and her friend group are very sweet. They just want to make Tara feel like she belongs. And yet Tara's acting like they are these horrible, horrible people for trying to integrate her into their life so that they can all be happy together. And if you see like these clips of them all hanging out and having fun together, like that would be a good thing. That would be a positive arc in any other form of media. And I guess that's, you know, where Christian and JW media differs, is that that's seen as a bad thing, that Lori would be so egregious as to invite Tara into her worldly lifestyle, and now Tara has to fight back and stand up for herself and cut off her friendship with Lori, who has done nothing wrong to her. She's just a sweet girl who wants to make Tara feel like she belongs, and she's gone out of her way to do so. I think she even bought her clothes. She took her on a shopping trip, and she's like, oh, my daddy's got money, let's go party. Like, she's been so nice. I wish I had a friend like Lori in my life. But no, Tara has to cut things off because she doesn't want to be influenced by the world anymore. And of course, now Tara is participating at the meetings again, and she has these new friends who... Nancy, at least, is 10 to 15 years older than her. I don't see what they would have in common, but I hung out with 50 to 70-year-olds when I was 14, so they were all sweet. They were very, very sweet. I have nothing against them. I'm just saying, like, it's not good for you to exclusively be hanging out with older people when you're young. You do need a peer group, because otherwise you won't know how to react to your peers, and you might end up like me and be terrified of anybody who's your age, because you believe that they're all secretly out to get you. And there wasn't really anybody in my hall who was in my age group and willing to hang out with me. Everybody was, I don't know. One of them got pregnant, but she wasn't baptized, so we don't talk about that. But yeah, so now Tara is living a new life with her new friends who are JWs, and they go out to picnics together, and they go in service together, and try to convert people to their cult together. And that is the end of the movie. This video is probably going to be longer than this movie was. I'm not complaining about that. I'm happy that it's short. The shorter the better for these things. Some of the newer movies are longer, and in fact, Remember the Wife of Lot is not even really a movie so much as a soap opera. It's a soap opera, pretty much. Or at least not a sitcom, because it's not funny. Unless you count bigotry as comedy.
Tess and Eric, they're some of the best up-and-coming talents we have in the field.
Your parents must be really proud of you. Well, my moms are both really proud of me. I was raised by two wonderful women, you know, life partners.
Oh, yeah, you know, my assistant Marty, I recently found out that he's gay.
But anyways, so what do I think of this movie? Well, I think it's horrible. I think it was fun. It was actually really fun to watch. And I think that's just because of the vibe it gives out. It's got this extreme 90s vibe, this 90s JW vibe. And it reminds me of when I was a little bean, before I was a teenager, little bean, going to the Kingdom Halls like this that had these gaudy decorations and everybody was dressed like they were at a funeral. It reminds me of my grandma, honestly. And I don't know, it's oddly comforting. Brings me back in a way to a simpler time before we knew who the governing body members were. Because that's something I realize has changed a lot. And I don't know if other JWs want to admit it or not, but I noticed it when I was still a witness. And that is that prior to, I want to say, the 2010s, you did not know the governing body's faces. You did not know who they were. They were a faceless, nameless group of men who you might hear about them now and then in this article or that article, but ultimately it was about, it was about God to some extent, I would say. I don't know, there was a different level of sincerity. I still don't agree with the beliefs, and I don't agree with any of their beliefs, prior or current. But it had a different level of sincerity. It really, really did. Because now it seems like they just want glory for themselves, to the point where they're like, oh, the governing body has blessed us with this thing or that thing, or governing body member, etc., said this at the last meeting, and they're quoting governing body members, and they're quoting their own literature instead of the Bible. And I don't know if other JWs are aware of it, but like, that's exactly what they said they would never do. They said that is what set them apart from the rest of religion. And how are they any better now? And how do they expect us to not realize that? Like, it's disgusting. It's horrible. It's really, really gross, because they're lying to you. They're lying to you about what it's actually about, because even if it was at some point about God and serving God and not serving a nameless, faceless organization, now it is. It absolutely is. And they are not even hiding it anymore. That's why we know all the governing bodies' names. When I was still a JW, it was a big thing to try and find the governing body member at your convention and to get a picture with them. I had a friend who would collect his pictures with the governing body members like they were Pokemon cards. And he was like, this was in what? 2014, 2015. And I remember even then thinking, like, it's kind of weird. Like, they're just guys. Why would we give them this undue importance? Aren't we supposed to just view each other as brothers and sisters? But no, clearly, very clearly, that's not what they're about anymore. If they ever weren't about it. That was my little JW movie review. I hope you enjoyed it. I have a couple announcements. So, number one, in case you didn't see my Nancy Drew video that I did, I don't blame you if you haven't. It did not do very well on the channel. Like I said, if it doesn't involve JWs, it doesn't get views. So I might have to just go with JW's stuff for now, even though I don't really want to. It's not that I don't want to. I enjoy making this content. I do. I just don't want to drive myself into a pit of like, this is all I can do now. But everything else is so oversaturated. I can't make a name for myself otherwise. And trust me, I've been trying 10 plus years to try and make a name for myself in some way. If you'll notice, this channel is not new at all. It's 10 years old. I've been trying this game for a long, long time, and I haven't had much success, but it's not about the success anymore. It's about having fun, right? To some extent, I guess. I do enjoy making this content. I'm afraid of ending up in that bubble where this is all I can talk about, but if I do, it's not the worst thing. At least I'm getting what I want to say out there, and at least people are listening to me, and I appreciate you all for listening to me. That being said, if you want to support the channel, you can check out my Redbubble shop. I've got lots of stuff that has nothing to do with anything specific to the channel. It's just cute designs. This one seems pretty popular. I love it. It's a Frogger design. I think it's super, super cute. My latest one is called Bubblegum Alien, and I'm working on a couple more. I'm working on a coffee theme, which is coffee and deer, and I'm going to be calling it some variation of Stag Bucks, as a parody of Starbucks, of course. And lastly, Hail Santa is complete. I have finished the book. It's in editing right now. I'm giving myself 1 more month to finish illustrations and editing for it so that it can be absolutely the best piece of material I can make it. And right now we are shooting for September 21st. We're shooting for September 21st as the release date. I'm really excited to be sharing it with you. As soon as it's out, I'm going to restart my readings of the book. I want to make sure everything's exactly the way I want it to be before I start sharing that with you again. But the goal is to turn the entire book into an audiobook. So you can purchase it to support me, or you can read it for free, or you can listen to it in an audiobook. It's going to be completely available for everybody. Until next time, see you later. Bye-bye.